Flashes of red and blue lights flickered wildly across my front yard as I stood watching 17-year-old Brandon Miller being cuffed by police officers. He was yelling at the top of his lungs, voice cracking as he shouted about civil rights and how his mom would have the entire department fired. I, on the other hand, calmly stood beside my bright yellow Lamborghini Huracan, giving the lead officer a clear rundown of what had happened. Neighbors crept out from their homes like spectators to a street-side drama, murmuring in disbelief. After all, Karen Miller, our infamous HOA president, had built a reputation on strict rules and suburban tyranny. No one expected her son to be caught red-handed committing a felony. 3 months ago, I had moved into Willowbrook Estates full of optimism. The neighborhood looked straight out of a magazine, neat lawns, peaceful streets, and the kind of quiet you dream about. My consulting firm had finally taken off, and with some hard work and savings, I treated myself to my dream house and my dream car. For the first few weeks, things were peaceful. I'd sip my morning coffee while admiring how the Huracan gleamed in the driveway. Then, one morning, Karen arrived at my door, blazer ironed, clipboard in hand, and everything changed. Karen was in her late 40s, always dressed like she was leading a corporate board meeting. Her smile was tight and performative, her tone condescendingly polite. She welcomed me with hollow warmth, but kept glancing at my car, clearly calculating how to make it her business. She hinted at first that my car might be a bit loud. For a tranquil community like this, maybe I could park it in the garage instead. Her disapproval quickly escalated. Within days, I received a formal HOA violation letter citing an ambiguous rule about vehicles disrupting community harmony. When I looked into the rulebook, it was laughably vague technically. Even a red minivan could violate it. I decided to ignore the warning. Bad call. Karen went full crusader mode. I started getting notices about supposed noise complaints, fabricated speeding violations, and fines that grew steeper each week. And then came Brandon. The teenager hovered nearby whenever Karen came to berate me about neighborhood standards. Tall, smug, and obviously used to getting his way, Brandon gave off the kind of energy that made your instincts buzz with warning. One particularly humid afternoon in August, things hit a boiling point. I was washing my Lamborghini when Brandon strutted up to me. No greeting, just arrogance. He demanded the keys to my car. Said since his mother ran the HOA, technically she owned everything within its borders, including my property. I blinked, trying to figure out if he was joking. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Told him HOA presidents don't own residents' belongings, and his grasp of the law was frankly embarrassing. His face flushed crimson, and he stormed off, shouting that I'd regret mocking his family. At 2:30 a.m. that night, a noise woke me. I checked my phone, flipping through the live security feed. My blood ran cold. Brandon was outside, tools in hand, attempting to pry open my car door. A crowbar scraped the paint while he fumbled with a screwdriver. I called 911, immediately whispering to the dispatcher. I stayed glued to the live feed, watching him grow increasingly agitated. He kept glancing back at his house, but Karen's lights were off. He was on his own. Sirens neared. Brandon panicked, looking around frantically, but instead of fleeing, he doubled down frantically, yanking at the handle. As the first patrol car rolled up, its spotlight lit him up. Standing there, tools in hand, caught mid-crime. Officers shouted commands. Brandon started yelling about how this was his mum's property and that he was just retrieving it. He threatened lawsuits. The lead officer, clearly seasoned, didn't blink. Within minutes, Brandon was cuffed and sitting in the back of the cruiser. Karen appeared moments later, wrapped in a robe and fury. She screamed at the officers, threatened to sue, and blamed me, claiming I'd set up her son. She argued my car was bait, left out to tempt a poor boy. The officers patiently listened before informing her that attempted grand theft, auto vandalism, and property damage weren't exactly minor misunderstandings. Within 48 hours, Brandon faced 3 felony charges. The scratches alone would cost over $3,000 to repair, bumping the damage into serious legal territory. Karen lawyered up and threatened countersuits, but the security footage was clear. No manipulation, no setup, just her son caught in the act. Neighbors emboldened by the scandal started speaking out. Complaints about Karen's harassment and misuse of power flooded in. The HOA board called an emergency vote. Karen was ousted 8-1, her sole supporter being herself. News outlets caught wind. Headlines read, HOA president's son arrested in Lambo. Theft attempt. Karen's employer, a respected law firm, quietly asked for her resignation. Clients didn't want to be associated with the chaos. Brandon was sentenced to 18 months in juvenile detention and ordered to pay restitution. Karen collapsed in court when the sentence was read, her carefully maintained world crashing around her. She cast one last glare at me, full of venom and helpless rage. But it didn't matter. Her reign of terror had ended. Her HOA dictatorship overthrown, and the neighborhood she once ruled with an iron fist, it finally had peace, and a cautionary tale it wouldn't soon forget.